Hi friends, yeah, it's Angie, it's Friday, tomorrow's my rest day, another week's flown by, but I'm going to finish up with another expose, I'm sorry, but it's something, like I'm going to balance it. The scriptures I've been reading in my Bible studies say, if people are proclaiming the name of Jesus or telling the truth, let them at it, whether their heart motive is right or not. So I think everybody's truth contributes to the truth getting out there. But at the same time, I do feel the need to share this article, sent to me today again by a trusted person that I've known for years and met several times face to face. But it's nothing I didn't know. I've taken first-hand testimonies from people about Sacha Stone and the fact that he says Special Branch gave him a visit and said, if you cover Hampstead in the London I.T.N.J sittings, we'll shut you down. And I've had interactions with people that have been to stay in his place in Bali and said that he's a drug-addicted sex addict. And there's the whole elite thing, that he's the son of a sir, the illegitimate son of a sir, but then he says, no, I'm not, I'm the son of a TV broadcaster of the same name. And the same with Robert David Steele. Some of what they say is absolutely true. So maybe the purpose of this is just to, I don't know, empower people to seek the gift of discernment, because it's getting so hard. Look at, okay, it's getting so hard, and it will get harder to tell truth from the Matrix or from psychological operations by intelligence services. It's almost like warfare now takes place online. So I'll just share briefly this article, and you judge for yourselves. The same with what's his name, Russell Brand. A lot of these people are just implanted, sadly, or elites trying not to be elites. Do you remember that? Is it because I is black? Ali G, he's an elite. A lot of them are implanted. Here it is. So this is from a blog. I'll just read it to you and you judge for yourselves, but a lot of this is evidence-based and it's not news to me. Sacha Stone works for the Satanic Empire, ? Okay. And I would advise you, I'll put this link in the description box because there's a lot of sub-links that you can go to verify things, So free podcast available here. I showed you receipts and testimonies during the ITNJ's Deep Dive Part 2. In this chapter, the focus moves towards Sacha Stone and his associates. Simon Jean-Paul Sacha Adams was born in Rhodesia in May 1966 in the middle of the Independence War. Now, my father catered a royal yacht party around that time, probably around that time, off the Rock of Gibraltar. I think it was probably far enough out to be in international waters, and nobody is, you're out of jurisdiction. My father catered 2 royal yacht parties at that time, at least one of which hosted Ian Smith of Rhodesia and Harold Wilson. But that's I digress, right. Right, Rhodesia was an unrecognised state in southern Africa from 65 to 79, where modern Zimbabwe is today. Why would a, quote, nobleman who has nothing to hide change his name? Yeah, why Sacha Stone, like Sacha Adams, changed his name to Sacha Stone? Just a question. You know. Who is Sacha's father? Sir Walter Adams is described as a British historian and educationalist with a vast resume. So this is who's alleged to be the father. And there's quite a lot of evidence to indicate he is or was. And then Sacha's sister, who does keep the Adams name, says, no, our dad was a broadcaster on telly in England. So, anyway, but look, Rockefeller and London School of Economics, I'll let you look at that for yourself. Finally, he was knighted. The man alleged to be Sacha Stone's father, Sacha Adams, knighted in 1970 for his, quote, services in education. Students opposed him because of his links with Ian Smith's racist regime in Rhodesia, where he was director of the University College. A family of polarising figures. 1967 saw a concerted student campaign against the director-designate culminating in the occupation of the old theatre. Yeah. The installation of gates designed to prevent students from occupying the campus caused more unrest in '69. The riots led to the school's closure for 25 days and the arrest of some students. Walter Adams died of a heart attack during a visit to Salisbury, Zimbabwe, now Harare, 1 year after retiring in 1975. That's interesting. Sacha Stone and his sister Toyin Adams, were born out of wedlock. Sacha's father had many children with different women, in addition to being married. His wife was Lady Tatiana Adams, and they had 4 children. The former Tatiana Makarov was born in Kherson, Russia, before escaping with her mother and a brother. Her father was a leader of the nobility before the 1917 revolution. Sacha's mother was an anchorwoman in South Africa, decades younger than Sir Walter. His sister, Toyin Adams, is a plastic artist. Now, she does some very Luciferian art, I have to say that, sorry. She's a plastic artist radicated in Portugal that specialises in occult artwork. Yep, that's true. If you go to Sacha's website, you will hear his fairy tale of a rocker turned activist, but aren't we all? This is somebody else's blog I'm reading from, so please, YouTube, be kind. Illuminati baiting, this is what Sacha described himself as. Illuminati baiting misanthropic narcissist with a hyperactive pineal function. As stated on his former bio on Facebook. A self-description he deleted after this blogger brought attention to it. And then the blogger says Satanists tell you what they are, as their bad intentions hide in plain sight. A man boasting about hating humans and worshipping himself. Are these not red flags to you? The best way to control the opposition is to lead it yourself. Vladimir Lenin. I'm not sure if that's the original source of that quote, but anyway. Sacha's father's associations with the Rockefellers and British intelligence are relevant. I mockingly call Sacha Count Rockefeller. A joke some take seriously, but he's not one. Governments always used agents to infiltrate social movements and opposition. Intelligence agents infiltrated the hippie movement and the Black Panthers in the 60s to spy on those who opposed the Vietnam War. Today, secret societies populate the government, that's true, entertainment, corporations, banks and sports. The most important movement right now is happening worldwide, mainly online. Yeah, it's true. A great awakening where truthers share info non-stop and wake up thousands of people a day. With the mission of preserving our society and most importantly our humanity, we all battle through all sorts of inconvenience. Let's fast forward to 2016. After WikiLeaks, as many people got a whiff of paedophilia in very high places. Elites panicked And when elites feel people are getting too close to the truth, they assign professional patsies like Robert David Steele for damage control. A, quote, former CIA insider turned whistleblower, and of course with deep pockets. Steele threatened to sue this blogger to silence his expose on Sacha. And there's a link, you can look at that, infiltration instead of invasion. Just like John F. Kennedy said, at the same time the Crown-controlled MI5 kickstarts the ITNJ, International Tribunal for Natural Justice, with the assistance of shadow Vatican figures. The powers that be assign New World Order Agenda 2030 enthusiast Sacha Stone their mission to gather intel on the victims, like Fiona Barnett, like so many others, like what's that Dutch banker? Anyway, so many others that testified at the ITNJ. To gather intel on the victims, pre-approved testimonies, control the narrative and sabotage witnesses. Yep, Hampstead was not allowed. They are terrified of people waking up to the horrific reality of human trafficking and satanic ritual abuse. Accusing critics of sedition. The ITNJ, created under the purpose of robbing people out of time, money and hope, is not what it claims to be. Sacha Stone is the anointed guru wannabe, selected to lead a rotten and misguided New Age movement. It's definitely New Age. He has all the traits needed in a cult leader and a fake hope merchant. If you know the Crown is guilty of the crimes you claim to denounce, then why would you use the term sedition? Do you see how deep Prince Andrew is involved in the Jeffrey Epstein case? Why was Prince Charles so close to serial paedophile Jimmy Savile? Did you, the Crown, murder Princess Diana to silence her knowledge of child sex trafficking inside Buckingham Palace? She actually said if she died in a car crash, it was MI5's plan to murder her. What makes you think any anti-human trafficking organisation linked to British intelligence is honest? When I learned that what Sacha Stone and Robert David Steele did to Kevin Annett and Dr. Catherine Horton, I was fuming, says the blogger. It's a disgrace that these frauds rat on people with the, quote, authorities they pretend to stand against. Now, I have to say I've also taken first-hand testimony and had my own interactions with Kevin Annett, and I believe he is of a similar ilk. You know, I've talked about it in past work. Anyway, so this blogger says, when I worked with them, they instructed me to stay away from the Hampstead case. Now, this is the ITNJ, which I know this is true because I had first-hand. Ella was supposed to do a Skype testimony on the ITNJ, and Special Branch forbade it, and Sacha Stone and Robert David Steele backed down and said, okay, all right, we're not allowed to touch Hampstead. Why is that? So this blogger says, when I worked with them, they instructed me to stay away from the Hampstead case. So this guy actually worked with the ITNJ and then said, no, I'm not, no, not happening. And he turned whistleblower. How ironic, how beautifully ironic. When I worked with them, they instructed me to stay away from the Hampstead case. I received contradicting statements, and according to Connie Broussard, there, quote unquote, there wasn't enough evidence. What a load of bollocks. Sacha contradicted her by saying, MI5 said they were going to kick my door down if I didn't drop it. Wow. Anyway, we'll jump that little bit because I can't get behind Kevin Annett, sadly. But there's a link there if you want to go further on that. Deflection and absolution, now rebranded as the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into the weaponisation of the biosphere. They're just a joke, and they They get hundreds of thousands of support. It's just a joke. The ITNJ, International Tribunal for Natural Justice, and by the way, they wouldn't let anybody swear on a Bible there, and they recommend amnesty for paedophiles. But the ITNJ no longer focuses on child sex trafficking. New Zealand folks flocked to my website, this is the author, to ask for more info on the corrupt organisation, and I happily obliged. The result? The Kiwi people and I joined forces to shut down the ITNJ's New Zealand scan, as they recruited people like Sue Gray. These are names I'm not familiar with. My help was most likely non-essential, but I love helping people and sabotaging parasites. So I'm just going to skip on. I'll leave you the link to read this for yourself. It says, paedophiles and child murderers forgiven. Everyone gets the truth and no one goes to jail. Quote from Robert David Steele. And then the author says, I don't know about you, but I think absolution is for stealing bread, not raping children. Then we have New Age bullshit. People like Keith Raniere, Sacha Stone, Teal Swan, Russell Brown, Jared Leto, and others. These people who behave like cult leaders, forming tribes and networks in which they have self-appointed themselves as the authority. And then there's evidence, you know, there's testimony, there's part 1, 2 and 3 of this. There's testimonies of people having loaned, $200,000 to Sacha, $100,000 invested, and so on and so forth. It's not a pretty picture, so I'll leave the link. I'll put a picture up of Sacha. Please pray for me against backlash and professional trolling. No point taking a lawsuit against me. But that's the way they roll, And I'm conscious of the scripture that says if they're speaking truth, leave them at it. So I just felt I should bring that to your attention. And in pursuit of truth, we all continue. God bless.